It's Tappy Chat. Tappy Chat.
Hi everyone, welcome to a Tappy Chats. My name is Miss Alex. I run Tappy Toes in Forest Hill, which is a baby up to preschool dance class. And I've been finding we get into these chats at the end of class and we never have time to finish them, or there's something really interesting that comes up that I feel like we should share. So I've created this extra medium for us to extend the chat and have a bit more of a chat about things that are going on in the local area. So my guest today is Hannah from Connecting Mums, also a mum of two. I seem to be recruiting mums of two at the moment, who runs this amazing I was going to say class, but it's not. It's like a session that I will let her explain. It's all about mums getting together and chatting. So I thought it was absolutely perfect for Tappy Chat. So hi, Hannah. Welcome to Tappy Chat.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Hey.
Very last minute. We've got there.
We did. We
Squeezing
have
it in before
literally
half
pulled
term.
this together, going, oh gosh, yeah, half term is looming, and we
Yeah.
need to get this done before we just end up 24/7 parenting, endless
Mhm.
snacks, just yeah, hell.
Whatever
So
we need to
yeah.
do, right?
Looking forward to it. Can't wait for half term. So tell us, Hannah, all about Connecting Mums. What is it?
Thanks, Alex.
Big
I
question.
was
There
like
you go. I would
laughing to
just sit
myself when you
quietly
couldn't know
for
how to
half an
describe
hour.
it. Yeah, when you couldn't know how to describe it, I was laughing to myself because I also sometimes struggle to even describe what I do. So, Connecting Mums is essentially it's a business I set up. It's just me, and I run sessions for mums. Currently, just for mums with babies up to pre-crawling. So generally, somewhere up to like 10 months or so for really to bring mums together. And the best way I can describe it is like a sharing circle. There might be some people out there who know things like women's circles. This idea of gathering as women has been around for many years. I've definitely not invented that. But it's really bringing it for mums with young babies in a really difficult time of life for so many mums. Whether you even have a really easy transition into being mum or a challenging one, it's still a huge transition, right? And I just don't think that there's enough spaces for mums to really properly talk about that. So it's really to bring mums together with local mums. I have 11 mums in each group. And yeah, just to give them a space to really talk. We do it in a really specific way. It's not just kind of everybody comes in, sits down and talks. It's quite facilitated and structured, which I guess is what makes it quite different to maybe just meeting up with a mum for coffee. But it's really to get the same outcome, I guess, of that connection with other mums in a space to talk about how you're feeling.
Okay, cool. So why? Where did this come from? How did this begin? What sparked this idea of bringing mums together?
Yeah, well, where do I start? I could probably talk for an hour on this, so I'll do a concise version for you and anyone who's listening. I guess most of it was from my own experience of becoming a mum. I had a really challenging start to becoming a mum. I had a late loss of my first baby in my third trimester, and then I very quickly fell pregnant with my now daughter, but she was born very prematurely. At 30 weeks. So she spent her first couple of months in hospital. She's now a thriving 5-year-old, and you wouldn't know. So we've really coming out the end. And now I am a very content mum of two. I've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. But the early years were really hard. And I probably took a good couple of years to process everything that had happened. I definitely could never have started Connecting Mums back when I was in the thick of it. But then as I came out the thick of it, so as my now 3-year-old was 1 and had started childcare, I was actually burning out. I was so sleep deprived still. My second child is not a great sleeper. And I saw you had Lucy from Second Star to the right.
Yeah.
She had a consultation with her myself
Oh,
many years
wow.
ago. Yeah, so love Lucy and her work.
Yeah.
So any tired mums out there, please go and find Lucy. And I was very, very tired, and so I did hit a bit of a burnout actually going back to work after having my second. But in that process, so I had some time off work. I do a different job to connecting mums 3 other days a week. I'm a tutor for accountants, so very different.
Wow.
I got some time off there because I was so exhausted, and that gave me a chance to think about, I guess, everything that had happened and who I was becoming. And it became really clear to me that although I do really get a lot out of my more corporate job, I was becoming a really new person. I had been through such a massive shift over the last 3 years. And I just felt this massive pull to creating the space that I really wanted. That's essentially where it's come from, creating the space I really wanted. I found actually my second maternity leave really quite lonely. I didn't have my antenatal group. We'd moved across London from Southwest over to Southeast. So I know I'm now very near you in Southeast, love Southeast London. But my antenatal group was still in Southwest London, which with a baby is quite difficult actually, getting across London. And I found a lot of other baby classes a bit too overstimulating for me. I was really tired. I didn't really want to be in a loud, busy room. I just wanted something a bit calmer. And I just found it really hard to talk to other mums about actually how I was feeling. I found small talk really hard to really get into how I actually felt as a mum. So yeah, it's come from my own experiences. Yeah, I think that's the best answer I can give on that one.
Yeah, it's powerful. So it must
Yeah.
be quite sort of emotional and interesting for it's almost healing for you to be bringing these people together and kind of facilitating their connection, I suppose. It sounds very powerful. Are they
Okay.
strangers? Are they people that do you find you tend to get a group that don't know each other, or do you find they go as groups of friends? Because I
Mostly,
yeah.
sorry, carry on.
No, I think what I found certainly was sometimes it's easier to open up to a complete stranger or a room full of
Mm,
strangers than it is to even your NCT group, because there's a certain level of, yep, I'm fine. We're all coping.
yeah,
It's all good. You don't really ever drop that mask and kind of go, actually, I really hate this newborn phase. It's really tough, but you could
yeah.
maybe kind of share that in a more safe space.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, normally mums who don't know each other. I do occasionally get a couple of mums who've done an antenatal group together, who'll come together, or what often happens is one mum will come from an antenatal group, will really enjoy it and tell other mums, and then they might come to my next group, or I do it in a few different locations. But vast majority of mums don't know each other. And I really agree with you that it creates a much easier space for opening up. I think with my own antenatal group, I found it really hard, to be honest. They were lovely. It's not against them. I just found, I think I was more worried how it would affect our friendships. I was worried of judgment more. And I think I wanted to come across as just being a bit more fun. And I was trying to have fun, but I also found that I was exhausted and finding parts of it really hard. And I think coming into that situation, I think what's really special about it is the mums coming know that all the other mums there want the same thing. The mums know I try and like market the sessions for mums to know that this is really about talking and about you as a mum. We're not really going to be focusing much on the babies. Of course, things like feeding and sleep come up, things about being a mum, but it's really about how you feel as a mum. So the mums all know that the other mums coming want that. When I used to go, I remember going to swimming classes with Eddie, and I would desperately be trying to talk to the other mums at the end. But if they already had friends there, they'd all be kind of chatting in their little groups.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really know if people wanted to talk. Like lots of people just come into a baby class or kids class, love the class, but then they're in a rush to head off because they've got other things they're going to.
Yeah, it was a milk or a feed, or there's something going on. It always
Yeah,
feels like you're kind of drawn away and you don't take time for yourself.
absolutely. Whereas
Or
this is a
yeah,
purposefully created space
yeah,
for the mums to meet other mums who want to talk about being a mum. So it does generally just work really well, even though mums don't know each other, and they get to know each other really quickly. The way I do the sessions is within maybe 1 or 2 sessions, the mums can feel a real connection with those other mums and a real ease of being able to talk to them very
yeah.
openly about how they feel.
Wow. So you said it's more structured, more facilitated. How
Mm.
paint a picture of how a
Mm.
session would kind of work for anyone that's thinking about it, might be a bit nervous about talking in front of people. I mean, how does it work?
Sure. So there's 11 mums in each session, and there's a separate WhatsApp group for each group. So before mums even come in for the first session, I will do some introductions onto the WhatsApp group about me, about my story, about what the sessions are, so that when mums are coming, they have some idea of what the space might be like. I also introduce everybody in the group, so I get everybody's like names, babies' ages, if you've got older brothers or sisters for their little ones. So I guess when mums come into the first session, they already have some understanding of who else is in that group, like the dynamics of, is it how many are first time mums, how many are second time mums. And then on the first session, it's very much a get to know each other session. So I always start by, again, introducing myself, and I will be really open about my experience. I don't necessarily go into every detail on the first session, because I don't think mums are always in the environment for really, if they're a bit worried themselves, I'm not sure they're going to be receptive to sitting there and hearing every detail about my motherhood journey. But I'll give some insight into how I felt. And I try and be really honest about my feelings to create a space where mums know they can talk about their feelings. I go through some gentle guidelines, things just like confidentiality, that, you know, not to take too many photos, not to take photos of other people's babies to put on social media, because I feel quite strongly about that myself. Like, I wouldn't want my own children on social media. So I try and create a really safe space by going through some guidelines. Mums often don't think they're going to cry, but they do. Often, I think it's sometimes the first time mums have ever maybe really had the space to talk about how they feel. If they've obviously done therapy and things like that, then they've already had that kind of experience. But for some mums, it's the first time they've really had a chance to really have someone listen to how they feel. So I always say that tears are very welcome. I do have tissues, but I don't kind of shove them into your face if you're getting emotional. I just kind of let the tears flow. And a lot of mums will give me oh, that's not going to be me kind of smile, and then it gets to them and suddenly some tears can start flowing. But not all the time. It's not like the whole session is full of crying. It can be really joyous as well, and a good laugh about the realities of young children. And then each mum gets a chance to share with the group how they're feeling. And I do think the first time you do that is quite scary. I think considering it could be, if there's 11 mums in a group, 10 other mums who you might never have met before, it can feel quite strange. So I always say to the mums, like, don't put too much pressure on yourself to open up about everything in the first session, because I do the sessions in blocks. So mums know they're going to see those same mums for it's normally 6 weeks, but sometimes 7 or 8 weeks if it fits well between half terms and things. So I kind of take the pressure off that you don't have to share everything, although sometimes mums do share more than they expect. When they get talking, it all kind of flows out and it can get really quite deep, but some mums do kind of hold a bit more in. So every mum gets a chance to share about how they're doing, about their journey into becoming a mum. I kind of leave it up to the mums what they want to focus on. So some mums really like to talk about maybe their pregnancy and fertility journey. For some mums, it's birth, the actual process of birth that's been a really part of their journey. And for some mums, it's really the postpartum experience that's been really massive for them. And I then finish off the end of the groups by maybe some reflections. I sometimes read out like a poem. I don't know if you've ever heard of, I forgot the name of it now. Beautiful Chaos, I think it's called. It's a book by Jess Ulrich. It's a poems on motherhood. So I sometimes will read out like a poem from Jess's book or some other books I've got, just to help mums kind of take a second at the end of the session before they're set out into the world, because it can be quite a deep session and then suddenly they have to go out to a busy street with buses and people running around, and it's quite a weird transition. But yeah, and then each week after that, mums get the chance to share how they're doing that week. And then at the end, we talk about a different topic each week. So things like, I try and focus it on the mums rather than just the babies.
Yeah.
Things like how they feel their identity might have changed, maybe their relationships with their partner. Sometimes it's, I kind of judge it on the group, what the group kind of, maybe from the first session, if any themes are coming up.
Yeah.
So if a lot of mums are talking about like family dynamics and how they might have a difficult relationship with their mum, we might talk about that as a topic. So yeah, we do that at the end of each session.
Do you find there's a lot of kind of reoccurring common themes that come up time and time again?
Yeah, definitely. So sleep, lack of the lack of sleep
never dies. Yeah. God.
No, and actually though, it's although we laugh about it, and I do laugh about it, it's also a space where we talk about, actually it can be really serious, that lack of sleep. Like for me, my mental health
Yeah.
got really bad off lack of
Mm.
sleep. And so it's a space where we talk about lack of sleep, but actually the reality of what that makes you feel like, and how it's
Yeah.
really torturous, and the anxiety it can bring, and the low mood. So we do like laugh about the lack of sleep, but also create space for actually how hard that can be to handle. Feeding, really common thing, like breastfeeding problems, bottle feeding problems, weight gain issues, everything around feeding and weight gain is a common problem that mums find. Guilt, like mum guilt, especially if I get mums like second time mums.
Yeah.
So it's also some first time mums, but I think it's mostly second time mums who come round into the groups, who are trying to then juggle the needs of an older toddler or child and a baby, and how we're just torn in so many directions that we can't please anyone, and sometimes. So guilt we talk about a lot, and the expectations we put ourselves on ourselves as a mum. I think they're the main ones. Oh, mental health comes up a lot. I
Yeah.
think because of the nature of the groups, it does attract mums who are maybe having a harder time. I do get plenty of mums who come in and have really not many or any mental health problems and are having a wonderful experience. I
Yeah.
do. But I would say it's more common that I get mums coming in who are having a challenging time in some way,
Yeah.
all different challenges, but some kind of challenges. So we talk about mental health quite a lot: postnatal depression, postnatal anxiety. Are the really common themes that tend to come up. I'm not a therapist, so I always say I'm not a therapist. It's not therapy, but lots of mums have said it's really therapeutic to have
Yeah.
that space to talk through how they're feeling.
Well, even just, the whole sort of it is parenthood, and those early months are so incredibly isolating.
Yeah.
And I noticed it because I was in the pub yesterday. I live there, it's fine, I'm allowed to be in there. And a couple walked in with a 5-day old. And, they looked tired, and they'd come in, they'd made their way out. And I just noticed everyone around, all the other tables, they're all like, oh, a new baby. Oh, congratulations. Oh, it's, very positive and supportive, So you feel like you've got to just smile and go, yes, it's wonderful. I'm in this newborn fuzz. And you could tell that under that, you strip away a few layers of being forced to go, yeah, 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 it's all great. Really, it's like a swan, there's loads going on under the surface. And it's really hard to just have to keep, you know, presenting what people expect of you as a new mum, to be all glowing and proud, when deep down a lot of people are really struggling. It's the most, I found it the most anxious time,
Yeah.
because you're getting to know a new baby, and there's always things going on, whether it's colic or sleep or feeding or weight gain or weight loss, and you're constantly going to see sort of midwives and doctors and checks here and jabs there. There's a lot. It's not an easy time. There's a lot of anxiety kind of rolling around, and I'm not really convinced that once you've had your baby and you've kind of moved out of those early weeks of visiting sort of the midwives, there's any further support out there. You're on your own. You might have your NCT group, but they're all in the thick of it as well. So where do you go to just discover that you're not the only one going, actually, I'm finding this newborn stage really hard. I'm really pleased I've got my baby, but I'm finding it really tough. There doesn't seem to be any kind of community. I'm just trying to work out what role the community plays in supporting mums in this sense.
Yeah. I
Um,
think a huge role. And
uh,
I think you're absolutely right that so many mums, people will be like, how are you doing? Even when they come into connecting mums into a
yeah,
session in the first, when we're all setting
yeah,
up, be like, how are you? I'm all right, I'm good. It's like, I'm good.
yeah,
And then like 15 minutes later, when you actually ask again,
yeah,
how are you? Like,
yeah,
really, how are you? It's like behind that word good, there's so many layers
yeah,
of, oh, I'm good about this, but then this is really hard, and then this is really bad, and I cried
yeah,
about this, and I got angry about this, and all this stuff. And I think it's the expectations on mums that's just really, really hard nowadays,
yeah,
that I think we're expected to be loving every minute. And I think that does make reaching out for help really hard, because you don't want to seem ungrateful. Mums always start, they always start by like, I really love my baby,
Yeah,
but, and it's like, oh, I take it as a given that we all love our baby.
yeah, yeah.
Of course, some mums do have problems bonding with their baby and might not feel that love, but I always make it really clear that
This isn't a judgment or a
you can
question.
sit here and moan and let all of the troubles
Yeah,
out for 5-10 minutes when you're talking, and not one part of me will think you're ungrateful for being a mum. There's nothing else in life where we're expected to be grateful every minute for everything we have, right? But I do think community is a really big part, and it was my main drive behind
yeah,
it. I mean, there are other places for help. If you recognize that you're having a really challenging time, or especially if you recognize that you might have some mental health problems, I do think there's help out there with charities like Pandas. There's a
yeah.
really good charity, like Mind, or your GP. I definitely got some help through my GP, but patchy. I've had some really good
Mm.
NHS support and some not so good NHS support over my
Yeah.
year being a mum when I really needed that help. Um,
I
so
just
I
find
think
it
there is
terrifying
help.
because I remember the midwife kind of going, "And how are you?" And I didn't want to say because I was like, I don't want to be judged. I don't want her to take my baby away. I don't want her to say I'm
Yeah,
a fit mother. You know, there's all these other fears that if you're not coping or if you're stressed in any way, then they're going to start to tick you off on a list, and therefore, you're jeopardizing your sort of like your safety with your baby. It's hard, but when you're in that heightened emotional sort of postnatal, very hormonal state, I think it's a really hard time to reach out for help because you start to worry that people are going to either judge you or say you're not fit to be a mother, or what support is out there. I think it's quite hard for people to say, yes, I need that help to begin with, um,
yeah.
and then reach out and actually be able to do something about it, when it's official, when it's through a GP or through a midwife or through the NHS in some way, because I'm like, oh, that'll be on my record. That will be there, just saying I'm struggling forevermore. And
I also think a
yeah,
lot of and not for everybody, but definitely my own experience was that if you go down the talking to GP route,
mm,
it can be quite often about like getting a label. So I wasn't labeled with postnatal depression because I didn't meet a checklist for postnatal depression,
oh
and
right,
I think I was just sleep deprived. Like
yeah,
looking back, I was just exhausted, so I couldn't see the light. I was
yeah,
just so tired all the time. Um, so I think from my own personal experience and what I've seen from mums coming through connecting mums is
mm,
there's a whole spectrum of mental health, and
yeah,
NHS can be really good at picking up some really more extreme specific cases
mm,
where maybe like very focused therapy or medication can be beneficial. But for a whole load of mums, myself included, I don't think I needed that. I mean, I have needed therapy over the years, but I didn't need medication as such. I
yeah,
don't think I did. I just needed support. I just needed people to listen to me and to feel safe, and that I could let all this out, that I felt like I
yeah,
was failing, that I didn't know if I was enjoying it. I get mums coming in and it's the first time they've ever been able to say, like, I'm not enjoying it.
yeah,
And I don't like, I wish I crave my life before having a baby. And that's a really hard thing to say.
hard, yeah,
And you see their shoulders drop, and you can see them waiting to see how the rest of the group's going to take that.
mm,
And every single time, everybody else just sits there and you see them, all their shoulders drop. And you get
oh,
like this goosebumpy feeling of everyone's just looking at them like, I get it. Like, we get it. Of
yeah,
course, we feel like that at times as well. And it's really powerful to have that space, because I don't think you can get that, in all honesty, at really any other baby group. Yes, you can get lots of other needs met from other baby groups, like the fun and the social side and the maybe more focused at your baby. A lot of the other groups, or like young children. I know like what you do is focused
yeah,
on young children,
yeah,
but really that chance to sit there and feel that like real magic with other mums of, well, I'm not enjoying this actually right
yeah,
now, and it being okay to say that. Like, why would you be enjoying it if your family are nowhere near, you
mm.
haven't slept properly in months, your husband's at work all day, your baby's
Your whole
screaming, like
identity's
you
changed.
wouldn't be
You don't know
enjoying
who you
that.
are. Your body's changed, everything. Yeah. And whenever
Yeah,
you even feel slightly, you express you're slightly down. I certainly know with my parents' generation, that's just called baby blues. That's having a baby. It all
yeah,
gets swept under this postnatal carpet and it's not addressed. It's just something that will go away in time. And I think, why should you struggle on like that? I know with obviously I'm dealing with sort of I teach babies from like 6 months bounce up. But what I've learned within the baby class that I do is to structure time. So I make sure there's time at the end and I disappear and I turn the music down and I just let them chat because
Mm.
it's important, it's about them. The babies get a lot of stimulation out of it as well, but it's more about those mums getting out there, making it to class, and then just having a chance to sit with other mums and just talk about something, anything, even not baby related at all,
I
just
love that.
making that connection. I just think it's so important.
So important. I really strongly believe the best thing for a young child and older children, especially in the early stages, is a well supported mum. Like babies are going to cry, they're going
Yeah,
to challenge us,
yeah,
and I just think the most important thing we can do is support the mums to be able to hold themselves, to be able to hold that baby's space, hold space for that baby who's crying without losing it. Of course, we all lose it sometimes. We're human, but
oh my
I
goodness.
just, yeah, I just
Yeah.
think like, yeah, need to support the mums, and that in itself is then supporting the babies and the kids.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
You can just see it. And some mums, it's like, I remember sort of walking to the corner shop with the pram and getting some milk. And it's the first time I'd talked to a human grown up all day, and that interaction was just so important to me. And I remember them going like, "How are you?" And I just burst into tears because no one had asked me. It was all, "How's the baby? What's the baby doing?" And suddenly someone was asking me how I am. And I was like, "Oh, I thought I was fine, but now you've asked me, I don't know." I was emotional.
Yeah.
So just getting out of the house and being able to go somewhere and know that you've set yourself some time just to kind of chat just sounds like a mum spa. Sounds amazing.
Mm.
Uh, really powerful.
Mm.
What would you say you've learned about yourself from doing these circles? What's kind of come up for
Mm.
you over the time?
Good question.
Mm.
Um, well, I guess not actually really so much on what I do, but that I'm a perfectionist, so I need to work on that. Running a business is really hard, actually,
Oh
which
God,
I know
isn't it?
you must get sometimes as well. So, on a very personal level, I've learned that a lot about myself by running a
Yeah,
business, that
yeah.
I have to learn to switch off and compartmentalize. It's hard to compartmentalize. That's what hard doing what I do with connecting mums
Mm.
is hard when I want to try and help everybody, but I
Yeah,
can't. I can't help everybody. I'm not there to like one on one help each
yeah.
mum individually.
How do you manage
Um,
that for yourself? Like, it must be holding that space for those mums for that period of time. How do you
yeah,
then kind of offload that? What do you do for
it's
yourself?
hard. It
Yeah,
is hard. So, like, I guess for my own well being, so that I don't get too overwhelmed by it all, getting outside, exercise is my absolute lifeline. If I'm not going running or doing yoga or some kind of movement,
yeah,
I start to get, yeah, really, yeah, I get too much in my head and it all starts to get too much. So definitely having to find time to do some exercise. I guess, I mean, I have my own coach. I do my own kind of, I
oh,
have somebody who holds space for
great.
me to kind of say about how I'm feeling and how I'm managing with all of that. So that's really important for me. Um, Nature, like getting out into nature. I guess just my own time, just
Yeah,
time for me. If I'm jumping from connecting mum sessions into my other job that I do, into being a mum with my own kids, and there's no gaps,
yeah, that's
it's just
a
too
lot.
much.
Yeah,
So I just try and factor in. It's not like immediately after a connecting mum session. After
yeah,
most connecting mum sessions, I'm then actually rushing to pick my kids up from school. So in the short term, it's just kind of getting through whatever I need to do that day. But then it's making sure throughout the week that I've got some time to move my body, exercise, getting outside into nature. It doesn't happen every week, but I
yeah.
try. That's what I need to try and do. And sleep, but that also just doesn't happen as much as I'd
No,
like it to do.
no.
But that's because I just stay up too late watching TV. I can't really blame my children that much for it anymore.
I
um,
still do because I feel like, I need my time now. And because you've
yeah,
kept me going for so long, I now need to watch 10 episodes of Downton just to kind of like reset
yeah,
myself. So yeah, 100% still blame them for
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh, so what's next for connecting mums? Do you have any
Hmm.
plans to kind of expand it? I know we were talking a few weeks back when you came to see me about doing more sort of like personal ones or ones for slightly older children?
Yeah, so I've been doing Tuesdays for a couple of years. So since I started Connecting Mums, it's always been groups on a Tuesday. That was my day that I had for it. I've now also got Mondays as well, now that my youngest is at preschool term time. So I'm moving into doing sessions on a Monday. I've been here, there, around about, like back to where I started. I've been like changing my plans on what I'm doing for Mondays, with all good intentions. I think I like tried it one way, realized I want to do it another way. So it's been a little bit busier than I'd like in my admin side the last week or two. But I am now moving forwards with basically trying to do similar to what I do on Tuesdays. I tried like a drop in, but now I actually think blocks is where the real magic is, actually. Mums knowing they're going to see those mums again. So I'm going into sessions on a Monday. They're doing really well, actually. They're almost full, which is great. I think it just shows that mums really do want and need this space. So then I'm also hoping to move into doing one-to-one coaching. So I qualified as a coach over the summer. And I'd love, because Connecting Mums isn't coaching so much, but a lot of the skills are the similar, like the real active listening, like the listening, holding space. But I would really like to go into one-on-one coaching, but I need to do one thing at a time. So I'm going to get Mondays up and running, and then maybe towards the end of this year or into 2026. I can't believe we're nearly in 2026. I will hopefully start being able to offer mums one-to-one coaching as well.
Wow. Busy lady. So if there's a mum listening to this or watching us right now and they're feeling really isolated and really alone, what would you say to them?
I would say be kind to yourself. I think kindness, I think it's so easy to go into like shaming ourselves for there's something wrong with us.
Isn't it?
Maybe we're the only ones feeling this way, like picking out all our faults and our failures. And I would really encourage them to try and look upon themselves the same way they look upon their friends or their baby, like with some love and some compassion. And I think that will help them hopefully see what they can do to make themselves feel more ease. I'd love them to come to Connecting Mums.
Cool.
Yeah, I would love that. What would I say? Reach out for help. I mean, just don't keep it in. I just think pretty much all mums that I know are going to go through a time of feeling isolated and finding it all really hard. And I think finding somebody to talk to, whether that be in a space like Connecting Mums or a friend or a family member or a GP, but just talking about it. I just think the more we keep it inside and think that's where we're going to constantly feel like we're failing and we're the problem. And actually hearing other mums talking about also feeling the same, because there's definitely going to be other mums out there feeling exactly the same as how you feel, is so liberating and so empowering to know that it's not you that's failing. There's a quote that I always think of by Brené Brown that said, "Shame dies when stories are told in safe spaces." And I just think, and I always think about that so many mums, I think, are walking around with shame. So Brené Brown's really got so much more interesting work on the difference between guilt and shame. And shame is really like you feel bad. And I think so many mums are feeling low and isolated and really internalizing it, that they're the problem. And they're not the problem. But I think they've got to talk about how they're feeling to realize that it's not them. It's the transition they're going through. And I think by talking about it, finding spaces to talk about it with other mums. I do think it's important to go to a GP if you really are mentally struggling. But I also think it's really important to talk to real life other mums. Try and get off social media. I think social media is great in so many ways because I think back to my own antenatal experience. I wasn't really on social media much before I started Connecting Mums, but that meant that my exposure to seeing how other mums were experiencing motherhood was quite limited to my antenatal group. Whereas actually, I think depending on who you can follow and what the algorithm sends you, it can be really helpful on social media to see there's so much out there now on mums normalizing motherhood. So I do think social media has a place, but I also think it removes that real life connections. And I think that there's obviously a really dangerous side to social media of what portraying what motherhood is like, which is not the reality for so many mums.
Mm.
So I think it's getting out there, talking to other mums in a space where you really can properly talk, whether that's through something like Connecting Mums, or there's other charities out there where you can meet other mums. At baby groups, like you say, if you go to one of your Tappy Toes class, like finding that time at the end to talk and just being really brave about sharing really how you feel,
Mm.
because talking about that might be just what you need to lift you out of that headspace of feeling like you're the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it must have a real knock-on effect on the babies, because they pick up on all of your stress, all of your anxiety. I can imagine at the end of a session of Connecting Mums, do the babies just start to sort of chill out as well, as the mums are feeling so invigorated? It must be, or do they just kick off? Do you still get as many punamis as you do?
Oh, yeah, it really varies. And sometimes like one or two will start crying and then it sets them all off. So sometimes we
Oh,
just have to
wow.
take a break for a couple of minutes. We definitely have a session or two where I have to be like, okay, let's just wait a minute, because like one hears a baby crying and then they'll start crying.
Oh.
But yeah, you can definitely see that sometimes if mums, what I sometimes find is if it's a mum's turn to talk
Mm.
and she is quite, has quite a lot to say, like some bigger themes to talk about, feeling really vulnerable, I think babies can sometimes pick up on that and they get a bit, I want to say agitated, but I think they really can pick up on that mum's kind of nerves. But then afterwards, when that mum feels really relaxed and like, oh, I got that out,
Mm.
yeah, they'll go back to sleep and they'll be more calm. And yeah, but mums get really nervous about their baby, any of these sessions. Like I often have mums, especially at the beginning, saying like, I'm just really nervous that mine will be the one that cries.
Yeah.
But it's trying to
Yeah, I get
normalize
that
they're all
all
going to
the time.
cry, you know?
I'm
I
like,
don't really know. They're all going to
doesn't
cry.
matter. I give you permission for your baby to scream, cry, whatever it needs to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I just
it's
say,
part of
if you
that
need to leave
shame,
the
isn't
room for a
it? That
bit,
guilt. Yeah, it's
yeah,
awful.
and you can leave the room for a bit. Like I'm not going to make you sit here trying to calm a baby if you're feeling really stressed in that space. So I always say, you're welcome to stay here. That's absolutely fine. But actually, if you would rather
Mm.
take a little walk outside in the corridor or walk up and down the pub and just kind of take a breather, that's also absolutely fine. Whatever makes you feel most comfortable.
Oh, sounds amazing. I wish I had found you when I was going through it.
Oh.
But how can people find you? If you want to come and join Hannah at Connecting Mums, and I highly, highly recommend it, how can we find you? Where are you on a Tuesday?
So I am Tuesday mornings over at a pub called The Station. It's a hotel and pub in Hither Green.
Mhm.
And Tuesday early afternoons at the Honourate pub in Honourate Park, bordering with Forest Hill. And on Monday mornings, I'm going to be over at the Lord Northbrook pub, which is towards Lee, so Hither Green into Lee.
Okay. Yeah.
And then also Monday afternoons at the Honourate pub as well.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
you've got mornings, you've got afternoons,
Yeah,
all
I'm going to
over
see
the
how it
place.
goes. It might get too much.
Yeah.
It's a bit of trial and error, to be honest, Alex, like how doing 2 groups a day on Mondays and Tuesdays will go.
Mm.
But I'm definitely of the mindset until I try it, I won't know. I'm going to try it, see how it goes, and then adapt as time goes on.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming and
Thank you,
sharing a
Alex.
little bit. It's quite emotional. I was like, oh, I can just, yeah, you can really kind of go back to that place and just remember how tough it was. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's so nice to know there's a bit of support out there. So thank you very much for coming on Tappy
And
Chats.
likewise, thanks for everything you do, Alex, as well.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
It's